So these Tom Homan run-ins with the press in the White House driveway are pretty fun to watch. Let's see the latest one here.
Hey, Tom, do you have a second?
Minding his own business, getting stuff done. Oh, okay, I'll come by and talk to you.
They got a podium ready for you.
They got a podium ready for him. I don't think they're ready for him. Let's listen in.
Questions. I got other interviews lined up, folks.
Mr. Homan, Tom Dempsey with News Nation. Can you give us an update on the crackdown in New York City of Trenday or Aqua members?
That's a classic example how collaboration between ICE and state and local law enforcement, the success of the collaboration. 27 Agua people were indicted. I believe 6 are still outstanding. We're looking for them. But we send a strong message to Agua. We're going to keep doing this to every TDA member, MS-13 members removed from the country. That was the first time we used RICO. The underlying offenses were sex trafficking, gun trafficking, drug trafficking, murder for hire. We seized a lot of weapons, and we rescued some victims of sex trafficking.
Now, hang on a sec. What I have not heard until he just pointed it out on any of these news channels is that there were weapons, that there were actual victims that were rescued. All these other artifacts that they've collected as evidence now, I haven't heard any of those mentioned. It's always that, people are not being treated humanely, being shipped back to the original location that they came from. Nothing about these things. I mean, this is outrageous. These are crazy criminal elements that have been brought to New York City. The mayor has about had it. His residents have had it. They're completely fed up. And so they're finally able to take some action, cooperate with Tom Homan and his crew. But you don't hear that anywhere, right? And so he's here pretty vividly describing in detail what's really going on behind the scenes there and what they're finding and what they're having to clean up.
What's specifically important to me about New York is Mayor Adams, who's getting beat up by the left for cooperating with us. Look what transpired. Look at the lives we saved in New York City, right? At the same time, you got the city council filing a lawsuit to shut down our memorandum of understanding, the executive order he signed to get us in Rikers Island. We proved yesterday what collaboration can do for the safety and security of New York.
All right, this one is crazy. The city council is not allowing them to take criminals from the prison there and deport them if they've had deportation orders or as part of the designation of their gangs that Trump has made, allowing them to be removed from the country. They're not being allowed to take them from those prisons. They're actually more willing to set them loose into the general population of New York City and force Tom Homan and his crew to chase them down, track them down, and capture them. Who's on the city council of New York?
But now the city council wants to lock us out of Rikers Island where TDA and MS-13 are housed so we can get custody of them before they hit the streets of New York. It's just ridiculous. And of course, no city council members at the press conference yesterday. They don't want to hear the truth. This is about open borders. This is about sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are for criminals. And I salute Mayor Adams for, writing that executive order to get us into Rikers Island. I think we'll win that case. I hope the judge who's going to hear that case saw the press conference yesterday and see the results of collaboration. Cops should be working with the cop. I never asked New York City NYPD to be an immigration officer. Ask them to help us be cops working with cops to remove public safety threats and national security threats and terrorists from the streets of New York and from Rikers Island when they're done with their sentences. That's exactly what we proved yesterday.
Mr. Homan, on the Franco Garcia case, what is your response to the judge accusing the administration of bad faith and willful non-compliance?
Bad faith. We removed an MS-13 gang member, public safety threat, wife beater, designated terrorist from the United States. He's home. He's a citizen of El Salvador, a native El Salvador, who had due process, despite what you're hearing, been ordered removed by 2 separate immigration judges. The best that could happen for him, if he actually gave back to the United States, he would be detained and removed again.
So he's already had deportation orders from 2 different judges. And yet this latest judge, following the politics of the Democrat Party, is issuing different orders. Supreme Court was intentionally vague because they're trying to balance the judicial system and to correct what's happening out there. So they've been intentionally vague in saying that the U.S. should facilitate a return, but under what conditions and what circumstances that happens, it's completely up in the air, right? So again, 2 immigration judges have already given this guy a deportation order. What else do you need?
Because he has an order of deportation. And what people don't talk about, the withholding order they keep saying was a mistake or oversight, was issued years ago under different circumstances. The gang he was afraid would attack him no longer exists. The country of El Salvador is a much safer country because of the actions of President Bukele. I don't think any court can order another nation, a sovereign nation, to take a citizen and national from their country and their custody and give them back to the U.S. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'll let DOJ argue this in court. But I think we remove the public safety threat, gang member, designated terrorists from the United States who have been ordered deported twice by a federal judge. I think I got plenty of due process. He got more due process than Lake and Riley got.
Now that's the sad reality of it, right? He got more due process than Lake and Riley got. Again, how many times does this happen where CNN, MSNBC, these other outlets do not provide the full details? So this is the venue that you have to watch and see where you can actually get a full account of what the heck is going on from the source itself here, being Tom Homan.
The administration, or the Supreme Court rather, says the administration must facilitate his return.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Will the administration facilitate his return?
I'm not. I'll leave that with the Department of Justice and the State Department. I think I stand by. We did the right thing for the safety and security of this country. We removed the terrorists. It's just like the 2 plane loads that all of a sudden everybody's saying we violated a court order. These are 2 plane loads of terrorists that were international waters. Again, I'm not litigating the case. I'm not an attorney. I'll let DOJ handle it. But again, I think we're keeping President Trump's promise to the American people who voted him into office on #1 issue, secure the border, and remove public safety threats and national security threats. That's what we keep doing. I find it incredible that there's all this push for more due process, more process for these designated terrorists, when in fact no one asked for due process when they crossed the border. No one asked for vetting when they crossed the border. Where was all the media? Where were a lot of you all folks when 10.5 million people came to the border and you're silent? Where were a lot of these folks when they had a 600% increase in sex trafficking in women and children? Where was everybody when we had 250,000 Americans dying from fentanyl that come to that open border?
Now, they really asked for it with this one. He's just really dropping the hammer on the press here. Completely silent on all of those issues. It may have gotten, a few minutes of airtime here and there, but by and large, it was never described as the massive problem that it really is that exists out there. And so he's calling them out, and I think rightfully so. And you could see every time he gives them a response, the press has the next talking point that, I don't know who gave it to him, but they have the next talking point to follow up, right? Talked about New York City, Mayor Adams. He took care of all of that. Immediately focus on the Maryland situation with the person that they refer to as a father and a husband deported, taken from his family. Address that. He's had 2 deportation orders from 2 different judges. All of that stuff, and now he's just firing back at them some facts, right? So let's see. He's going to close this out. The press is they're going to be sorry they asked him to come over here to talk to him.
Where's all the anger then? Where was all the press then? But now they enter the country legally against legal process, and now they demand legal process. It's just ridiculous how this has come full circle. And I think President Trump's doing the right thing. This country's much safer today. I looked at the numbers today. We're about 68,000 illegal aliens arrested in the interior United States, a hell of a lot more than Biden administration ever thought of doing. And a vast majority of them being criminal alien threats. This country's a lot safer. New York City's a lot safer today because of the operations we did up there. Arresting public safety threats and national security threats. Every time we arrest one of these people, remove them, the country gets that much safer. President Trump secured the border in a matter of 7 weeks. Today, as I'm talking to you, we had the most secure border in the history of this nation. The data proves it. He did in 7 weeks what the Biden administration couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years.
7 weeks versus 4 years. And it wasn't a couldn't do, they wouldn't do it, and they purposely wouldn't do it. That's a topic for an entirely other video, but the quick synopsis is the census, when you look at allocations of electoral votes and you look at allocations of members of Congress, it's based on residents in a state. And so when the census comes around, they count the residents in a state, not the citizens. And so there you go. It's a game.
This president is keeping his promise to American people. I'm happy. I walk in here every day working for the greatest president of my lifetime because I spent over 40 years doing immigration enforcement and border security. And we've never been where we're at right now, the most secure border in history of this nation right now. Lives are being saved every day. Migrant lives under Joe Biden. Over 4,000 illegal aliens died making this journey to the United States. How is that humane? That's an historic record. And again, 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl. How is that humane? They want to say our administration is inhumane. We're not giving due process. We're saving lives by the thousands every day. The wall, everybody's screaming and yelling about the wall going up. Every place we built a border barrier, illegal immigration went down. Illegal drug flow went down. But you know what no one talks about? The wall saves lives. Women and children can't get over that wall. So that means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women at the border, so who's going to deal with those health issues and a humanitarian crisis? Walls save lives. The secure border saves lives. President Trump saving thousands of lives every day by securing that border. And we're going to continue, despite what the district court says. Maybe we got to hold off on some of the deportation operations we're doing, but it's not going to stop us from seeking these people out, arresting them, and taking them off the street to the United States while we wait for the courts to decide, about the Alien Enemies Act, these other things. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to arrest these public safety threats every single day, 24/7 across this country. That will not stop.
Sir, can you tell us how many people have used CBP home to self-deport?
Well, I don't have that number right now, but
Yeah. Basically, mic drop right there. Well, there you have it. Watch the individual interviews. I'll keep bringing them your way, but you got to listen to the source because it's not going to be told to you on CNN and MSNBC. Even Fox News, they're not going to cover it all. They're not going to hit all the points when you hear it coming direct from the source. So again, 2 different judges issued deportation orders. New York City, the citizens there have been demanding some action for quite some time now, and finally it's happening, and the mayor is facilitating that, so that's not a negative thing. All right, guys. See you next time.